think my phone is sideways. Am I tilted? Hold on. Do I look sideways, you guys? I have OCD right now. Is it sideways or is it regular? It looks regular? Okay. Sometimes I get OCD when I come on, and I feel like things are like sideways. Hi. Hi, everyone. You're good. Yay, you're good. All right. I was just watching Johnny Juicer live. If you guys aren't following Johnny Juicer, I'm totally tripping. Oh, now it's a little bit sideways? Oh, shit. Don't say that. Because then my OCD is going to kick in. Anywho. Hello, Journey Back to Yourself 333 from Sydney. Aren't we all tilted? Yes. Thank you, Mama Revs Squirrel 3 for a badge. And Mama Revs Squirrel 3, I think. Yes, we are all a little crooked. We're all a little sideways. This is fun. 333 bought a badge. Okay. I jumped on because I was just watching Johnny Juicer on live. If you're not following Johnny Juicer, go follow Johnny Juicer. He's amazing. He's the bomb diggity dom. The bomb diggity something. Anyways, he was just talking about, all the things that are happening in the world and being able to wrap our heads around our government's lying to us. And he's so passionate about it that, I don't know, I just wanted to jump on and say hello to you guys. Thanks, Beth K11, for the badge. Who is he? Johnny Juicer. So I think it's JONNY_Juicer. He's an amazing man. And go follow him. Go give him a follow. So anywho, here I am. No idea what I'm doing here, but I wanted to check in. bombdiggity.com, there it is. Thanks, myveganlifestyle.com. Johnny Juicer is, Johnny_Juicer. Hello, Canada. So do you guys have any questions? I follow Johnny Juicer, missed his live. He was in the car. He's in Chicago. He was all bundled up. Hey, Lisa. Hi, Sarah. Go Canada. Go the entire world, right? It's funny. It's not funny. It's interesting when I think about what's happening in Canada and other places in the world. One of the first things that comes to me around Canada is this notion that we've never had a choice, right? That all of a sudden we now realize that we had a choice in all of this, in all of what has unraveled. I think that that's very, very interesting. It's like we sort of have been under the illusion that our choice is based on what our government says, or our choice is based on what scientists say, or our choice is based on what doctors say, our choice is based on what religious figures say, our choice is based on what teachers say. And I think one of the things that we're really starting to see is our choice is based on right here, right? Our choice is based on our resonance, our energetic signature, our frequency, our truth. That's where our choice is based, not in the external world, not in what somebody else wants us to do. I think that's really a powerful, powerful lesson in what we're watching unravel right now. I don't believe that the truckers are controlled opposition. I think that there is this thing happening in the world right now around controlled opposition that I would pay close attention to. And what I mean by that is anything that is pulling you into more of a divide, anything that is pulling you out of your own truth, anything that's pulling you out of your own knowingness, and creating more confusion. Controlled opposition, all that does is create more confusion for you. It creates more division. It creates more weight. Are they on this side? Are they on that side? I don't understand. Are they bad? Are they for the other team? Like, what does any of that really mean? Right? I think what matters and what is most important is your own knowingness. And do you even know what that is? Right? You have no choice to go into places we are locked out of. Well, that's obvious. Listen, this is one of the things about being a teacher in these times right now is like, okay, if you didn't take the vaccine, okay, and you live in a country where you can't go into a store, okay, without a vaccine, your choice that you made was that you're not going to get the vaccine. So sure, that's a choice. There's no choice. You have no choice of going into that store. Yeah, you do. The choice is you get the vaccine or you don't get the vaccine, right? That's your choice. That's your empowerment. That's your sovereignty. So we tend to look at the world in a black or white kind of sense. Like there's no gray. There's no layers to this reality, to this experience, to this human journey. Of course there is. There's all kinds of layers to your human experience. And everything is always a choice. People don't like that, and I understand why people don't like that. I get it, which is why I'm very careful when I talk about it, because there are many situations that people are in where they are inundated with so much trauma that they don't realize they have a choice. And so it's very dangerous to tell somebody that they have a choice in a situation where they are inundated with so much trauma that they can't see that this is a choice. And in fact, in telling them that it's a choice, it can create even more damage. Right? So again, it's not black or white. You never want to take things as absolutes. You always want to take things in pieces, right? What resonates with you? What resonates? Hi, Ryan Rose Evans. So good to see you. Let me know if you want to jump on. I'll bring you on to say hello. You had a spiritual awakening and your husband and you don't see eye to eye right now. I think that's happening to and has been happening to a lot of people. It's challenging when you are moving out of an old version of yourself and moving into a new version of yourself, and the individual that you have been spending your life with is not necessarily coming along, and so your lens is changing, the way you are seeing the world is changing, and it can be challenging to hold space with someone that isn't using that same lens. But I think what's important to understand is that, again, it's not black and white, right? You don't just walk away necessarily. The questions you want to start asking yourself in relationship as it starts to shift is, can you agree to disagree? Can you support each other in different, when you are seeing things not eye to eye? You're using different lenses. Can you still support each other? Can you still have empathy for the other person, compassion for the other person? Can you still walk side by side with the other person? I don't believe in any way, shape, or form that we have to see eye to eye in order to get along and in order to walk side by side with each other. In fact, that's not unity, right? Unity to me is being able to hold a variety of different ways of seeing the world and still standing side by side and walking through this human journey together, right? Being able to do that instead of, unity means, and in order to get along with everyone, we have to see the same. We have to use the same lens. That is a recipe for destruction. That's a recipe for disaster, because that's never going to happen, right? At least not for quite some time. So we have to be able to accept and hold diversity. We have to be able to accept and hold differences. If there's anything that this experience the last 2 years has taught us, it's, can I sit in the same space, in the same room with someone that has differing opinions? Can I? Can I accept another individual's beliefs that are very different from mine? Do I have to shut everybody out in my life if they don't see it my way, if they're not choosing in the same way that I'm choosing? There are many people that would say, absolutely, I will only be around people that hold the same sort of resonance, the same beliefs, the same lens. And that's cool. That makes sense. But you're literally shutting out one of the greatest gifts of this human journey, which is diversity, which is being able to embrace and empathize with differing opinions, differing beliefs, different people. That's much more challenging than turning your back on all of these people and walking away from all of these people, or choosing to not hang out with people that don't see it the same way as you. Of course, you always want to hold boundaries. You never want to be treated disrespectfully. But if you're in a relationship right now that's shifting based on your lens and based on you shifting, it's not black or white. You know, it's not about, well, they don't see it my way anymore, so this is going to end. Right? It's not about that. The inclusion revolution. Thanks for all the badges, you guys. Surprise!
Oh, surprise! Oh, hello, lovely lady.
Hello, lovely, lovely sir.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm good. Bit tired. Bit of energy going on today
Oh,
over here
yeah.
in Australia.
Somebody just asked about tiredness and exhaustion. I saw that question come up.
Mm.
So,
Please. I'm obviously talking about it for that reason as well. So, yeah, please give me your insights into tiredness and exhaustion.
I mean, I'll give you mine, then you give me yours.
Okay, let's
I,
go.
I, one of the things that's occurring for so many of us right now is, you know, and to not seem too woo-woo or out there, but there are energetic upgrades that we're experiencing. So I like to look at it as like energetic showers, or light, you know, energy coming down into the body, high frequency energy coming down into the body, like a shower, like you're driving your car through one of those car washes, and you're sitting in the car with it, and it's like getting all muddy and dirty, and it goes real slow, you know? So like, it's like your body's going through a car wash, but it's an energetic car wash. It happens all the time. You're probably noticing that you go through it more times than ever before, meaning you have these moments of exhaustion where you're like, I am taken out. I got hit by a truck, right? It's because you're going through the car wash in that moment, which means that there's a huge amount of light that's flooding into your body in that now moment. And your body's like, I need you to do absolutely nothing right now. Like, I need you to literally do nothing, so that whatever is inside of the body that needs to be flushed out, whatever that is, there's like an alchemization, there is an assimilation, and then there's an anchoring of this light. And so the more that you can literally do nothing, the faster that car wash can occur, can kind of can move through you. And it's happening. The reason it's happening so much right now for so many of us is because we're not necessarily getting the hints. So we could be doing these upgrades ourselves by choice, choosing different beliefs, choosing different behaviors, choosing different relationships. Like, we could assist in these energetic cleanses, but we're lazy, and we aren't necessarily choosing to experience the emotions and all of these things that need to be felt. So it happens naturally for us as well. And so if we wanted to kind of accelerate your own evolution, or if you want to accelerate your own shifting, then you we all should be consciously aware of really what is arising within our reality in every moment. What are the beliefs? What are the thoughts? What are the behaviors? What are the triggers, right? Everything that we've been doing, but being more consciously aware of it. And then there will be a, you may not feel as exhausted. Does that make sense?
That does. That makes a lot of sense. And I think because I just saw your reel about um, how much of our experience when we leave our body, we're going to want to come back down straight away again. And I just feel that that's like that really, really resonated
Yeah.
because it just makes a lot of sense, especially with what's going on, right? You know, we've been going through this now for a good couple of years. So our nervous systems of our bodies on a physical 3D sense are just heightened like anything.
Yeah.
And I think how I tend to look at it is our bodies and nervous systems can stay so wired for so long. And even if you're in a freeze state and you're feeling that real fatigue, or you're in that anxiety stress state, it's like a pendulum swing. And then in that pendulum swing, at the bottom of the pendulum swing is that vulnerability that we may not want to feel. So then we flip from one to then flip to the other one. You know, like it's this constant going
Yeah.
back and forth.
Back and forth.
So
Yeah.
yeah, and I don't know, I just feel like that's tiring for our bodies on a physical sense. But I guess like what you said is how do we get to that point of not being lazy so we can start to feel everything that comes through?
Yeah, I think that's important because today it's interesting. Some of you guys are talking about the exhaustion because today I felt really, really high, like, like high. Um,
Mm.
and it's interesting because there is layers or levels to our awakening or our evolution, and it's all based on the body. It's all based on the body, right? So if the body is capable of holding more of the light that's coming in, the frequencies that are coming in, then you are going to start to feel more high, right? And then eventually you won't feel that high, you'll just feel that level of awareness, right? Prior to feeling that kind of high, you're going to feel exhaustion. So we feel the exhaustion more because there's more density in the body that just needs to be cleared out. It's not right or wrong, good or bad. It's just how
Hmm.
physics, it's just how the physics of energy works in the body. So what's the density, right? What's the density? Well, physically it's food. Let's just start with like what we're putting into our bodies, right? Physically, there's density of the food. Then there's the density of the emotions, the trauma, the beliefs, the patterning, right? Those kinds of things. And so when that light comes in, the reason it exhausts us is because all of these, it's very unconscious until you become conscious of it, but all of that energy is being kind of swirled around, swirled around, swirled around so that it can break up. So then after the exhaustion, what happens? 2 days later, 3 days later, all of a sudden you start to feel the emotions that were stirred up. You start to, the limiting beliefs start to come in. You feel like a piece of shit again. You're like, you're beating yourself up with all these thoughts, whatever that is. The relationship that you thought maybe I'm supposed to leave all of a sudden blows up. So these things start to happen because of the light that came into the body and started rattling up, right? But what do we do as humans? We don't realize what this is, what a gift it is. And so we beat ourselves up. We blame ourselves. We judge ourselves. We try to change it or shift it. We try to stop it from happening. Like we're literally we blockade or block our own natural process of evolution only because we forgot how it works. So we're like,
Mm.
this isn't supposed to happen. I'm not supposed to be exhausted. I'm not supposed to be triggered like this. I'm not supposed to have these thoughts, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, no, here's the key to everything. Everything is a gift. Everything, every limiting belief, every addiction, every behavior, every exhaustion, every emotion, everything, especially if you don't like it, especially if it's uncomfortable, especially if it
Oh,
really makes you like, ugh, the worse it
yeah.
is, the better it is.
Yeah. Oh, why did you have to tell me that? Because it's so true.
It's so true.
So,
That's why
so how do we get out of our way?
we have to
How
get
do we
out of
get
our
out?
way.
we have to get out of our own way, right? So sometimes it's easier to disconnect and disassociate and just be like, oh no, I'm not going to deal with that today. So we do that a lot of the time, right? Well, I do. I do that a lot of the time. And how do we start stepping out of the way and letting our? And what do you do?
I mean, there are definitely days where I will disassociate. It's far and few between now. I rarely do that. What I do is I constantly hold the remembrance of what's happening. So I'm
Mm,
juggling this like multidimensionality, right? Where it's like I'm seeing my experience through multiple lenses. I'm seeing my experience as the human Lori with the ego, the personality, the labels, right? And then I'm seeing my experience as the consciousness that incarnated, that chose to have this experience that is consciously and courageously evolving. So I'm juggling both of those lenses at the exact same time, which allows me to know that every single thing that it pops into my moment, everything is an opportunity for me to evolve. And because that's the only freaking reason I'm here, I devour every single moment that shows up. I see everything as that opportunity, every argument, every pivot, all of it. And so I never judge and I never turn my back on it and I never deny
mm,
it. I don't do those
mm,
things. And when you start really understanding that and practicing that, the moment you want to turn your back and like go watch Netflix for 17 hours, right? You'll have compassion for yourself while you're doing that, which is a much better state of being. Even if you watch Netflix for 15 hours, okay? Because you're like, I can't do this human thing anymore. If you can at least not judge yourself and hold compassion for what you're doing, even that is a shift in your state of consciousness. It's a much higher state of consciousness. And you
mm.
actually, I promise you, you won't watch Netflix as long as you think you would, because you are embracing what you're trying to do. I'm trying to negate what's happening, and you won't be able to. You'll go back to what you were ignoring. You'll go back to it, right? So it's in the denial of it that keeps us in it longer, in the pretending of it that keeps us in it longer. So all we have, it's not that you deny that you want to break, or you deny that you want to change it and fix it and get out of it. You don't deny that. That's part of being human. This sucks. I don't want to feel this. Absolutely. But you have compassion for yourself and you're watching yourself doing all of that, right? You're with compassionate eyes, like a little puppy, you know, and it'll shift you, because this judgment and this comparison and this trying to deny like what you're experiencing and what you're going through, it just perpetuates it. It just keeps it in this cyclical, perpetual cycle. And it, it, you want to do the opposite of what your kind of knee-jerk reaction is to do.
Yes, that's so helpful because that's so true. And it's noticing those cycles, right? It's noticing when you're in that cycle. And I think what I've noticed with the more work I've done on myself is the cycles are getting larger rather than quick. They're not so quick, fast acting. They're happening. They're still there, but I know I'm in it. I know where I'm in that cycle, so I can feel it in its entirety. So with that, because I'm aware of it, there becomes less judgment with it, which is still I'm still practicing to this day. This non-judgment of being in the cycle. Oh, I've done so much work. Why am I still in this cycle? Like that sort of thing, still coming up to the surface. So it's like, yeah, just trying to hold that sort of compassion line of this is my human experience. And I think it was such a timely thing to hear that thing that you posted of that you enjoy every moment, every experience, good or bad, or whatever you class as good or bad, and really just try to go, oh, I'm here to experience this in its entirety
In its
and open up
entirety.
to that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not just the little bits that I can take, all of it.
All of it, exactly. Because we can, whatever's arising in front of us, whatever we're feeling or whatever's popping in, whatever's being asked of us, it's not popping in because we don't have the ability to go through it in that moment. We have the ability to
Mm,
go through it in that moment. we've debilitated ourselves or handicapped ourselves into really just devouring every energetic experience that comes up. You know, the ego
Mhm.
likes to really keep us safe. The ego doesn't understand the energetic world. The ego literally only understands the physical world. And the ego is designed to keep us safe in this physical world. It's done a really good job. But as we become
Yeah.
more energetic, we have to start experiencing the world with our higher selves, through our higher selves energetically. And so the ego has to start to kind of sit down, quiet down, and we have to learn new ways. We have to learn new ways of being in this energetic world. And that's what we're sort of experiencing right now, is this ego sort of quieting and learning that we're actually safe. We're actually extremely safe to experience everything that arises in front of us, because it's all just energy and we're energy. But we've
Mhm.
believed that we can't, because the ego didn't understand the energetic world. So the ego only understands it physically. And if it doesn't feel good, it's not going to want to experience it, regardless of whether
Sure.
it's just energy and it just moves, right? So
Yeah.
we're switching lenses from a physical sort of egoic, keep yourself safe, to a expanded higher self energetic world. And that's what we're learning right now. Holy shit, I'm safe. I'm safe. I'm safe to experience all of it. And all of it is being expressed or being brought up in order for me to continue to move into, evolve into higher states of consciousness. The only way that you can hold or be in higher states of consciousness over an extended amount of time is that your body is able to hold that frequency of that state of consciousness. Otherwise, we do what we're doing right now, which is this flip-flopping back and forth of like in these higher states, back into these lower states, in these higher states, right? Because the body is trying to anchor for you more frequency, more light, so that you can stay in those states for longer periods of time. And then, of course, you really become an energetic human experiencing the energetic world in a physical reality.
Yes. So that really resonated when you said the body is trying to keep you here for longer, to stay here. I had compassion for myself as soon as you said that, because it's like my body's wanting to be here for a reason. My body's wanting to feel this and be here and stay anchored, so that all of this can pass through me and work for. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, our bodies are like our best friends. Our bodies, and you know this because you do so much work with the body and the breath. Um, but our bodies are so much more intelligent than our egos. Like
So much.
our cute little egos, you know, they've done the best they
Yeah.
can with the information that they had. You know, our egos are not bad. Our ego really has done what it knows how to do. It's like talking to a kindergartner and saying, hey, can you do an algebra equation? The kindergartner's like, dude, I don't know what that even means, right? It's not the kindergartner's fault. It's not the ego's fault, right? But our bodies are 10,000 times more intelligent than our egos, than our minds. You know, I have this, there's this saying that a lot of like people say, that it's mind over matter. And I don't like that saying, because I think, I think the buck stops with the body. And I think
Yeah.
that it's
Yeah.
body over mind, in my opinion. You know,
Yeah.
like if somebody were to say,
Body over matter.
body over matter, like if you want to follow, do
Yeah.
you want to follow your mind or do you want to follow your body? I would follow my body in a heartbeat over my mind.
But we're so disconnected from our bodies, because as soon as the sensations and the energy comes and rises within our bodies, we run up into our head and we start thinking consciously,
Yes.
where the subconscious is the language of the body, right? So it's constantly talking and speaking and tuning, but we are so disconnected from it. I mean, even when I'm working with some people, the whole back half of their body and their spine can be completely like numb and dead. And when I say dead, I just mean they can't feel anything from it, because they don't feel it from the front. The body's always trying to give us these beautiful signs and signals, but because these sensations and this energy can be really fast, can make us feel a bit anxious, we just run back up into the head and consciously problem solve it
Yeah.
all the time.
Yeah.
Something that really came up for me then, Laurie, when you was talking, was that I really felt when you went and done your 7 day cabin, you went to go and do some more work on your book, I believe, and then you had this huge shifting of trauma that came up. Um, I'd love to hear more about that if you're all right to share about that. But
Yeah, it coincided with what was happening with Feel Good, which is what was kind of the catalyst for it. But yeah, it was a massive shift within me, a deeper, I shouldn't say massive. It was a deeper shifting, a deeper awareness of the role. So I'm acutely aware of my body image issues, or ways in which I have experienced my body, felt in my body, viewed my body. I have massive body dysmorphia, like insane. Um, and so there's always been this battle and this fight within me with my body because of what happened to me when I was really young. And so this thing that came up last month, at the beginning of the month in January, was this realization that I was using yoga to blanket my inability to love myself within my body, or to love my body. Meaning I would go to yoga, and as long as I was doing yoga, I loved my body. It was a pseudo love. It wasn't, because if yoga was taken from me, would I be able to, if I didn't work out, let's just say that, if I didn't work out, Lori, would you be able to love your body?
oh, don't do this. I oh, don't. I get it.
And the answer was
Yeah.
no. So then it became
Mm,
obvious. See, it's not about the yoga, it's about what the yoga is doing to me or for me. And so
mm,
it was a crutch. It was blanketing the fact that I still didn't actually love myself and my body. And so for Phil, it was literally about the gym, going to the gym. And for me, it was a deeper layer of, Lori, I just want to remind you that you actually don't love your body. You pretend that you love your body because you use yoga as a way to make you love your body. As long as I'm doing yoga, I'm good because I'm controlling my body and I'm making it look a certain way. It's fucked up, dude. And I'm sculpting it. And now, granted, my body loves yoga. I love yoga. It feels so effing good to do yoga. So there's a massive kind of what the hell going on in my head, right? But I got real clear on, I know it's not about the yoga. I know it's about how deeply I can love myself within my body, regardless of what my body is feeling like, looking like, or doing. And so it's very layered. It's complex and yet simple. And it's not an overnight boom, it's but I can tell you this, Ryan, since that first week in January, I've never felt not only more in my body, but I've never felt more like encased in my body, like held by my body, like a warm blanket. Like my body is a
mm,
warm blanket,
mm.
and it's like, it's got me now. You know, it's, but it's been interesting. You're a bodybuilder, so you know all about this kind of.
Yeah, Laura. Yeah, like Laura, it's like you're talking obviously to me. Like, so I get it. I completely feel everything you said, every word you said. I completely get it. Like so much so, I felt the emotion of when you were talking about it.
Yeah,
Like it's real big. So thank you for sharing that because I'm sure a lot of people feel the same.
yeah, it's
Um,
big.
yeah, same experience, in a different way. Maybe more the same as feels like going to the gym and being a bodybuilder and being a body sculptor. Because when I do that, I do love my body. But when I don't do that, I don't love my body. But guess what happens when I had those 2, 3 years of being ill and not being able to train or exercise? I had to find a whole new love for my body again. And that was, oh my God, you do so much for me. You beat for me, you digest for me, you move for me, you run from danger for me. You've done so much. And all I wanted was you to be different. And I really, really imagined myself talking to my little inner child, my little Ryan, going, imagine me telling him he needs to be different, you
Yes.
know? So it's so like, I completely get it. I completely get that, how
Yeah.
that is. So you still going yoga?
I went to a yoga class, I forgot, a day or two ago, and it felt really good. My body felt good. I hadn't gone in like 3 or 4 weeks, almost a month, and I went, and it felt, my body was happy. It was like my body
Mm,
was thanking me for going, but it's one of those slippery slopes for me where I have to be acutely, I'm not going to be unconscious to this, right? So it's like, because my body loves the yoga, I want to be able to still go to the yoga, but I don't want to go to the yoga because it's going to make me enjoy my body and love
mm,
my body. So I'm like,
mhm, mhm,
so I have to,
mhm,
the last 3.5 weeks, I've really been, um, I see it as like this boxing ring that I'm in with this other aspect of me that wants me to believe that I need the yoga, or my body is not acceptable unless it looks a certain way. I need to eat certain things only. Like this whole mind, those eating disorder type of thoughts, right? So I've been watching myself the last 3.5 weeks without the yoga. I've been watching this battle in the boxing ring happen. And every
mhm.
couple days, well, actually not for 2 weeks, I was like on a freaking high. I was like, oh my God. And then all of a sudden there's this boxing ring. I was in the boxing ring kind of battling. It happened once when I was in Florida. It happened once when I was here. And it's literally like me fighting for freedom. I'm literally fighting for what I know is my truest expression. And it's an all day, you're not getting me, I'm gonna, and it's different than sort of surrendering to what's coming up. For me, it literally feels like an internal battle that I am fighting, and I'm sure it's perhaps unique to my own experience, I don't know. But it's trickery, because it's a trickster energy, this other aspect of me, because it will literally try to pull me back and convince me that old way was the right way, that old way was the good way,
Mm,
and it's like, oh,
mm,
hell
mm,
no, hell no, hell no,
mm.
hell no. So it's just this like, you know it's interesting.
Yeah,
It's
yeah, I do. I get it.
it's crazy. But then when
I
I
get it.
when I'm really just me, and I'm in my body, and I'm just like feeling all of it, it's the greatest for me, because I've never been happy in my body. For me, it is heaven. It's absolutely freaking heaven, because I'm safe, I'm home, I'm loved, I am love, I'm beauty, I'm all of that, and nothing else matters. Nothing else matters, And I think that all of us have at least one external thing that pulls us from the belief that we aren't beautiful and safe and perfect just the way we are right now in our bodies, you know? And I think it's going to be an awakening for a lot of us when we start to realize that many things that we think are healthy and good for us and are providing all of these things are actually just distractions, pulling us deeper away from ourselves, right? Pulling us deeper away from uh, where you actually find freedom and love and acceptance and peace and beauty and all that, which is inside the physical form.
Mm,
you know
mm.
there you go.
Goldness,
I love you, my
goldenness.
friend. What a gift for you to jump
Yeah,
on.
yeah. Thank you so much for connecting and letting me jump on. So, I will leave you to it and connect with everyone else. And
Yeah, if you
thanks so
guys aren't
much, Laurie.
following, if you guys aren't following Ryan, go follow Ryan Rose Evans. He's amazing in
Oh,
every single way possible.
well, Laurie, I love you. So big hug.
I love you, my
And
friend. Thanks
see you
for
soon.
jumping on.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Bye. He's amazing. An amazing, amazing man. He does a lot of good work. We all do a lot of good work. He does a lot of like, I watch some of his stories. He does like cold plunges and breath work and trauma work, inner child work, that kind of stuff. You know? Thanks for all the badges, you guys. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. He has really beautiful energy, very calming energy. Very, very calming energy. Yeah, I was feeling really, really high today. Super, super high. Hi from Chicago. Hi, Heidi from Chicago. Ryan Rose Evans. Ryan, Ryan, Rose, Rose, Evans, Evans. I met him on Instagram about 2 years ago when all this went down. How do you love your body more? Such a good question. Start listening to the beliefs that you hold about it. Start listening to the beliefs that you have around your body. This needs to change. This is too fat. This is too squishy. This is too that, right? Pay attention to what you believe that you need outside of yourselves in order to feel okay within your body, right? I mean, loving my body was not something that I ever thought I was going to finally be able to like really do, right? You know, it's hard. It's like the same thing as saying, how do you love yourself? It's the exact same thing. It's really hard to describe how you do it, you know? There's a lot of energy coming in right now, for sure. Okay, any other questions? For me, it was just something that naturally started happening. Because I could try to force myself to like love my body and it just wasn't, I wasn't being honest, you know? I just prayed for it. Honestly, I prayed for it. I just prayed and prayed and prayed. Ego evolution. The ego doesn't really, the way the ego sort of evolves with us is that it starts to trust the higher self. And so the ego starts to trust that it can trust the energetic world. And when it starts realizing that the energetic world isn't out to get it, then it can quiet. Then it can stop doing so much, trying to protect you from the world, trying to keep you safe. So it's a natural evolution. It's a natural process that occurs. But eventually what happens is this image of your ego and your higher self walking side by side, holding hands, both playing very important roles. Your ego plays a very important role. Your ego will continue to play an important role in keeping you physically safe in this world. But it's going to start to trust your higher self. It's like a child learning to trust a parent. Exactly. Or you learning to trust anyone in your life, right? If you're getting into a new relationship, you have to learn to trust that person, sort of, right? Or whatever it is, or a dog trusting its owner, right? It's the same thing. That's what's happening right now. The ego, that's the ego's evolution, is it's learning to trust the aspect of you called a higher self, right? Yeah, you don't want to shun the ego. You want to support it. You want to cheer it on. You want to see it as playing a really significant role in your life. I don't believe in the ego dying and the ego dissolving. That's impossible, right? And that's also a massive bypass. I mean, your ego is literally a structure that was designed in order to keep you physically safe. It tells you that it's too hot out, go take off clothes. It's too cold, put clothes on. Don't put your hand in hot water. You know, that's the ego's role. Don't jump off a cliff, you're going to kill yourself. The higher self's role is to guide you through this energetic world, moving you into higher and higher aspects of you. The ego's role was never to guide you through life, bringing you into higher aspects of you. The ego doesn't know how to do that. The ego doesn't understand the energy. So how is it ever going to bring you into higher aspects? So your ego is going to tell you things to keep you safe. Don't do that. You don't have the money. Don't do that. You're not smart enough. Don't do that. You won't be loved. Don't leave your partner because you're not going to find another partner. Your ego is full of limiting beliefs. It's full of patterning. It's full of the matrix. It's full of programming. It's full of all of that. So what? Nothing wrong with that. That's the only thing it knows. But you're starting to step into a different version of you, which we call the higher self. Right? And that higher self version understands who you actually are inside physical form and what you're actually doing and how this world works. And so it begins to guide you and lead you into these new versions of you. And it's frightening as heck, right? Because the higher self doesn't plan anything. The higher self doesn't talk about the future or the past. The higher self doesn't give you a handbook. It doesn't say this is how you do it. None of that. It doesn't give you a handbook. The ego wants a handbook because it wants to be safe. Of course. Give me a handbook. I'm not going to do anything until you tell me how it's going to unravel. That's ego. Higher self says, listen, lady or gentleman, I'm not going to tell you how it unravels because you have free will and everything happens in a present moment state. So you have to trust, but you've got to follow me because I understand you and I understand where you're going and I understand what's for your highest good. All the shadow is energies within your body that you are denying or ignoring, or you just can't see, feel, hear right now. Okay. And the shadow is basically made up of trauma. Okay. So the traumas create the shadow within you. And traumas are external experiences that you've had in the past that were uncomfortable to feel. And so it's stored in the body as emotions, thoughts, beliefs, perhaps now behaviors, patterns. And so the shadow is literally just previous experiences that didn't feel good, that you kept in the body because you didn't feel it when it was experienced. And they build upon each other to create patterns and beliefs, programming, behaviors, emotions, etc. And so the reason we call it a shadow is because we are unconscious to the notion that it is these traumas that are literally dictating our life right now. Why? Because there are limiting beliefs, there are patterns, there's programming, and there are emotional states, and there are behaviors that we do all day long that stem from those traumas. And we are unconscious to it, i.e., it's the shadow. So we don't even realize that we are perpetuating. We are in a hamster wheel, recreating over and over again a reality and a life based on a past trauma, a past experience that's held within our body, within a shadow. And so as soon as you recognize, OMG, this is a pattern in my life, holy cow, you're seeing the shadow. The second you say, oh my God, this is a limiting belief that came from ... when I was 10, you're seeing the shadow. The moment you recognize that this behavior is a behavior that you do over and over again, you get into a relationship and you grab on and you hang on and you become codependent. That's, as soon as you recognize that, then you realize that's in the shadow. And then once it is seen, it comes out of the shadow. Now it's no longer in the shadow. And now you can do something with it, i.e. you can choose. It's the exact same thing that's happening in the collective right now. We are literally watching the human collective shadow be brought to light. So we are looking out and we are seeing that we have been programmed, that we have been mind controlled, that we have been manipulated. We have been lied to, that we have been in a world of tyranny full of fear. We're starting to realize this. Oh, more and more humans are starting to see aspects of the human collective shadow that we have been living under. We've been living under this collective shadow, believing that all is fine. Governments don't lie to me. The scientific community is completely legit. It's not based on greed, right? Like the school system isn't being paid off right now in order to keep our kids masked. Like we're starting to see all of these things, and we have believed that everything's been hunky-dory. Well, many of us have. A lot of us have seen this for quite some time. You have to see the shadow. You have to see the trauma. And as soon as you do, then you become empowered and you start to choose. So it's the same thing. The only way that you clear a shadow is you see it, you feel it, you observe it. I am not the trauma. I'm not the emotions. I'm not the thoughts. I'm not the beliefs. I'm not the behaviors. I'm not any of it. This is, if you can't do that, the shadow is going to remain and control you. You have to be able to be the observer in all of it. And then you choose. It's as simple as that. You got to see it, recognize it. You got to feel it. You got to know that you're not it. You are observing yourself in it. You're observing it, right? You're detached as an observer. And then you choose. Choosing is extremely difficult at times, but you choose. You choose over and over and over again. You choose whether you want this behavior. You choose whether you want the external behaviors. Do you want to participate in what's happening, or do you not want to participate? One of the greatest things about what's happening in Canada right now is they're realizing that, holy shit, they actually had a choice. And they had a choice from the get-go. We all did. We were just convinced, manipulated, and lied to that we didn't have a choice. Because that's part of the shadow. And that's how you are controlled. If you understand that you're sovereign and that you have choice, you will not be controlled. But how do you control a human collective? Fear. And what are most humans afraid of? Death. So what are they going to fear us into? That we're going to die. And that's what happens. So making humans believe that they don't have a choice is a huge manipulative tool to convince the humans they don't have a choice. None of that's true. Humanity is starting to wake up out of that illusion, right? It's beautiful. We don't have to complicate the shadow. We don't have to complicate any part of the human experience, right? Well, yeah, the reason people are afraid of death is because they believe that death is this horrific experience, and then they God knows where they go. Maybe they're going to go to some place called hell, right? There's all this fear around death. Death is just another experience. It's just a transitional experience. It's just moving from one state of being to a different state of being. That's all death is. You're literally just moving out of physicality. That's it. It's just a shift in dimensional fields. It's as simple as that. Your consciousness, which is what you are, is literally just shifting out of a third dimensional field. Then it's moving into a higher dimensional field. The reason there's so much fear around it is we forgot what it feels like. We forgot what it looks like. We believe that we're in a lot of pain when we're experiencing it. And we don't know where we go, even though where we go is where we've already been. We've already been where we don't remember we're going when we die. That's the biggest mind screw of it all. Like, we've already been there. Duh. How do you think you got into the body in the first place? You had to have been somewhere else. And that somewhere else is where you go when you pass. Think of that illusion. I wonder what happens when we die. Dude, you were already there before you came in. You know exactly what happens. We just forget it all. Do we just forget it? This whole human experience is like our mind, it's like our memory got wiped and we're dropped into the human experience, and we're like walking around with like a chicken with your head cut off. Like, I don't know any of this. I don't remember how energy works. I don't remember how telepathy works. I don't forgot all of this. It's like, no, you actually know how all of this works. Seriously, you know how all of this works. Every single consciousness that's in a human body remembers how this works. They were told how it works. Anytime you incarnate into the physical form, you are told how this world works, how this physical dimensional field works. And wherever that is, wherever we are, that's where you go when you pass. I'm sorry, I just think it's silly right now. It's wild being a human. It's really wild when you start to step out of the illusion that this is all there is. You know? I mean, I get it. It's intense. It's massively, you know, uncomfortable at times. But it's just energy. How do you remember this? It's a feeling in your body. So here's how I like to kind of give you an analogy or the feeling of remembering. Okay. So it's a knowingness. And how do you know what knowingness feels like? So I'm going to ask you right now. Okay. What is your name? You're going to answer, my name is whatever your name is, Susan. Okay. And then I'm going to ask you, how do you know that's your name? How do you know that Susan's your name? And I want you to feel into knowing that Susan is your name. It's an absolute. Nobody can take that away from you. It's undeniable. It's like a duh. My name is Susan. Yeah, but how do you know your name's Susan? Because my name's Susan. It's the same thing with like your address, where you live. 1316 Philadelphia Street. How do you know? Well, that's where I live. Okay, so everything's physical in terms of your knowingness, right? The physical birth certificate, the physical address. But knowingness is a feeling. Knowingness is a feeling. It's an absolute. And the remembrance of all of this is the same feeling. The difference is there's no physical proof. There's not a driver's license with your address on it. There's not a birth certificate with your name on it. You can't prove knowingness. You can't prove remembrance. It's an absoluteness that you feel in your body that nobody can take away from you. No one can take it away from you. You just know. And that is how you start to live on as an energetic human, is you stop needing physical proof of anything. I need physical proof of this. That's third dimensional. That's physicality. And this is not a physical world. It's an energetic world. And so if you're constantly looking for physical proof in an energetic world, you are literally missing a massive part of this experience in this world, which is the energetic part. So you're only getting a sliver of truth if all you're looking for is the physical proof. You're missing out on 3/4 of the actual world and reality that you're living in. Stop needing physical proof for anything, and you will literally start to understand this world. You will start to see this world on an energetic level. Yeah, I've been talking about the convoy in Canada. Yes, I know about it. Why do we come back if it's so uncomfortable? Because from a higher perspective, it's all just an experience. And so it's being able to experience physicality. That's the gift. And this is what we forget, because we are literally so drenched in physicality. It's the only thing we know. And when you're in physicality, everything is more intense. And not only are you in physicality, okay, but you are in a dimensional field with so much spectrum of consciousness that it's uncomfortable. Feeling fear is uncomfortable. But the reason you come in, the reason you come down is because you get to be physical. You get to be physical. You get to have physicality and consciousness at the same time. You get to experience fear and love at the same time. That is an absolute miraculous gift. We think that there's this experience right here is very, very unique in this third dimensional world. It's very unique. It's a unique experience. And so that's why we come back down over and over again. I think a lot of people would say, well, no, it's a karmic cycle and you're learning things and and that's one way of looking at it. I don't look at it that way. I look at each life as very unique and very separate, right? And always a choice. You're always choosing whether you want to come back in or not. Never forced, nor do you ever need to, right? Hi, Susan. Do we help others see what's going on or let them see it in their own? I mean, try it out. You know, if there's anything that a lot of us have learned in the last 2 years, it's that you can't force people to see anything they're not able to see. You can't force anyone to quote unquote wake up. You can't force anyone to use the same lens as you. And that's one of the greatest gifts, is that you start to learn empathy. When you stop trying to change someone, you step into empathy. What is empathy? Empathy is trying your best to start to see through another person's lenses, putting their shoes on. What's it like with their shoes? What's it like in their body? What's it like in their experience? What's it like with their trauma, with their growing up, with the life experiences they've had, which has created the lens they're using. So instead of trying to change everyone to step into your shoes and to see everything the way you do, because apparently your way is the best way because you're awake and you're better than, right? I'm not saying you're thinking this, but this is what happens in our head, right? Just because you see things differently doesn't mean that that's the right way or the better way or the more evolved way. It just means it's your way. Evolution is natural. Trust me. Millions upon millions of humans will continue to wake up out of the collective shadow we're in. Look at what's happening in Canada and all the other countries. It's happening slow. It's happening. And there's much more shadow to unravel. But if you think that your way is the right way and you got to go around and let everybody know that your lens is the right lens, you're missing the point. That's not to say you don't speak your truth. That's not to say that you don't use your voice to speak your truths and what you see happening out there. It means that you stop thinking that your way is the right way and the only way. You stop thinking that you're here to make sure that everybody changes and everybody wakes up and everybody sees it your way. That literally only creates suffering and struggle. You will suffer and you will struggle if you are attached to changing people, if you are attached to waking people up. Your role is to speak your truth. Your role is to be your signature, your energetic signature, your resonance, your frequency. Your role is just to shine. Your role is to stand up for your truths and your freedoms and all of those things. Abso-freaking-lutely. But it's not to turn to your neighbor and say, you're wrong, I'm right. You need to see it my way. How do you not see this? And if someone's doing that to you, you allow them to just have their thing. Because this entire process is very natural. And if your role is to speak truth, if your role is to educate, beautiful. Do it from a detached state. Meaning I am not attached to how anybody experiences this. I'm not attached to making sure that the entire world wakes the freak up. It's exhausting. It will literally exhaust you. Ask most of us that have been doing this for the last 2 years. You get to a point you're like, wait a second, what the F am I doing? This is exhausting. People are going to wake up when they wake up. Which is exactly what happens. But we each have our unique roles. We each have our unique roles. And there are many, many people that are playing roles right now where their voice is the catalyst for people. So this is not, I want to be really clear. This is not saying don't try to make change. You're always making change if that is your role here. But you're making change from a sovereign place. Meaning I am literally just being me with my truths, with my knowingness, my voice. I am not the only right. My way is not the only way. Even though I see things and think, what in the WTF are they thinking? How do they not see what I see? How do they not see what I see? Drives you crazy. But then you have to say to yourself, okay, they're in a different state of consciousness. They're in a different state of awareness. It's not my role to make that wrong. It's my role to say, holy crap, I'm in a massive human evolutionary shift where I'm going along with 7.5 other billion humans. We're all on the same roller coaster ride. And so I've got to see what's happening out there, whether I agree with it or not. And I still speak my truth, and I still make my choices. I still choose what I'm going to do. I still say what I need to say, but I don't judge the other person. I don't create a divide between the other person. I don't say I'm better than because of ... Because all that does is perpetuate the divide that we're here to clear out and unify. Right? It's a much easier way of going through this. I'm telling you, because we have only seen a tiny bit of the shadow. Trust me. Trust me. COVID, the vaccines, the masks, the mandates, all of that, the greed, the manipulation, the mind control, tiny piece of the collective shadow that we're going to see unravel. So it's a great thing because it's allowing us to understand so much of what we've been in. But we've got a long way to go. We got a long way to go. Long way to go. But we're doing a great job. It's not bad that's coming. It's shadow. Is your shadow bad? No, your shadow is not bad. It just hasn't been seen in order to be chosen to move through and no longer be in. That's it. Is it going to rattle us, the external? Yeah, it might rattle us. It's going to make our jaws drop, perhaps. Right? No, it's not too late to do the program from December. Reset 2022 is a course I did in December. It was a live 4-week course, and it was mind-blowingly potent. It's the first time I've ever done a 4-week course, and it is hands down life-changing. Life-changing. And it's available now as a 7 recordings. So there's 4 teachings, 1 Q&A, 1 DNA upgrade and activation with Damian Wynn. As I say, guided meditation, tons of homework. It was so good. So it's available now. You can find it in my bio or my website. It'll change your life. I'm promising you. Yeah, it's really, really good. It shocked even me, I think, in how it came through. It's a lot though. It's a lot, meaning it's activating. There's so much that I threw in there. So much. I use the teachings daily. Thanks, Mama Dookies. Is it Dookie? What if it's not Dookie and I just said Dookie? Is it Dookie? Because that's totally embarrassing. Like, looked like it was Dookie. Damien is amazing. There's not a lot of homework. Let's see. There were four actual teachings, 4 classes that were actual teachings, and there was homework in 3 of them. Today was a very, very powerful energy day. Oh, it is Dookie's. Isn't that like poop? Is it poop? Today was a very powerful, energetic day. Just meaning like more energy was moving into the body. Hi, Mikey. My brother just joined in. Do you ever find yourself questioning yourself when big downloads come in? Not anymore. No, it's like picking up a book at a library and just reading the book. So it's like, it's real to me. But in the beginning, when I first started to receive quote unquote downloads, which is basically like a briefcase of information that gets dropped into your body as an energetic puzzle, and then you have to put the puzzle together. I would doubt the downloads that came in. I would question them, and a lot of times I would look for other people saying the same thing or talking about the same thing, and then that would give me validation, right? So I was constantly shown externally from other people through their teachings or their words or their writing or YouTube. They would say the same thing, and it's like, oh, okay, I'm not crazy. I didn't lose my mind. This is information that's coming from some other, higher dimensional realm or higher frequency or whatever. And then I just started trusting. And the only thing I can say is just trust. Just trust, trust, trust. Because what's your other choice? Not trusting, so it's completely up to you. I feel led to look for a new career, but I'm having trouble getting started. So here's the thing about the world, the universe, the quantum field. You have to simultaneously hold a knowingness and stay present. So you can't force anything into your now. You can't force anything to come in. You can't force yourself out to grab anything. You have to be present with what's in front of you. A lot of suffering and struggle that we have comes from the fact that where we are right here, right now is not what we want. So we're literally fighting against the natural energetic flow of this experience of the human, which is right here, right now, is literally all there is. And so when you are trying to find a career that you like and you're in something that you don't like, if you can stay present with what you don't like, if you can stay present with, I don't have a career right now, if you can surrender and settle into that and not fight against it, do you understand? So you're moving through the flow of the current, okay? And this current that you're in right now, you don't have a raft. So you're like, this freaking sucks. Like, I'm exerting a lot of energy. But this is my now. This is my experience right here, right now. And maybe it's the experience in another now. And then another, like every minute, this is my experience going down the river. Would I prefer to have a raft? Yeah, it's a lot easier to go down the river if I had a raft. But I don't have a raft. Am I going to try to go search for a raft? No, that's not how it works. I know that a raft's going to come. And so in the meantime, holding the intention and knowingness that a raft is going to come, it's going to appear, because it's for my highest good, of course it's going to appear. I'm going to continue to move in the direction that I'm in without fighting against it, trying to make the rapids change, trying to shift the flow of the river. That's a lot of efforting. So if you're trying to find a career that you like, the first thing that you want to do is stay present with where you are and don't make it wrong. Don't try to change where you are. Hands up, settle into it, let's go. It'll come to you a lot faster if you do that. If you try to start reaching for other things to alleviate and lessen the uncomfortableness of where you are denying what's right here, right now, and you are escaping the natural flow of how this entire human experience works. You don't want to escape anything. Let it all come to you. Let the universe serve you. Let the world serve you. Let the entire world serve you. I want a career that I love. Fabulous. I don't know what I love. fabulous, stay present, and continue to hold. I see it like things coming in from like the quantum field. I'm holding, okay, an intention that I have this amazing career, that I'm happy, that I'm fulfilled. And I'm also acutely aware right now of where I am, which is I'm on a river without a raft and it freaking sucks. Next. Okay, so what? I also know that there's an aspect of me that is in a career that I love. Okay, great. That's fulfilling me. Okay, great. Your higher self is going to bring everything to you the moment it needs to come to you in order to bring you into the version of you that is doing the career you love. However, if you are not present, if you are trying to figure it all out, because the ego's like, I'm going to do all of this for you, and I'm going to go and find this over here, and then I'm going to go do this, and I'm going to go do this, and you will literally miss the present moment. And the present moment is the only way that your higher self knows how to deliver anything to you. So if you're distracting yourself, if you think you know, meaning your ego, your personality, right, your patterning, if you think your limiting beliefs, if you think you know how to do it, and you're trying to search for all these things, and you're distracted by your mind, you're distracted by your thoughts, and you have a specific way in which you think this is going to go, I can promise you that that is not how it's going to go for your highest good. It may go that way because you're very good at figuring out and controlling your life, right? If you are a perfectionist and if you're a go-getter and if you make things happen, I'm like that, right? You will make life happen. Doesn't mean it's for your highest good. It doesn't mean it's what your higher self has in store for you. It doesn't mean it's the career that is your highest potential, that will bring you the highest joy, highest abundance, highest love. It just means that you are really good at creating your life and controlling it and making shit happen. But it does not mean that it's for the highest potential. The highest potential is present moment. Trusting that present moment is where you will be delivered over and over again from your higher self. And that you literally have to be in a state of both surrender and effort, or doing this. Being and doing. But you're not doing, thank you Being by Cassia for the badge, you're not doing in order to control how the river flows. You're doing by staying active, by being human, by taking baby steps, but you want to be acutely aware of whether you are trying to control. Right? That's the ego. The higher self just boop, drops. Boop, drops. It drops it for you. And if you're distracted and if you're trying to control it and you're trying to make it happen. So it's learning. We have to learn how to do this. We don't know how to do this. What do I eat for my body to feel the best? Right now, I am, thanks Chris Cast for a badge. Right now, the past month and about 2 months, I have been eating very little cooked foods. So I've been having a lot of juice. I've been juicing a lot of greens, eating a lot of fruit, a lot of nuts. I've been drinking my plasma. So I've been going through a massive detoxing and drinking my plasma, which is basically your urine. What else? Salads. I'll have salads. If I'm traveling, like when I was in Florida traveling, I ate cooked foods because I was out with friends. But no meats. Try not to eat cheese. Any kind of animal stuff I don't eat. My body's changing a lot. Thank you, thank you, thank you for the badges. Plasma is urine. It's another name for urine. It's not always delicious. Depends on how you're, how hydrated you are. You know? Yes, I said urine. How do we stay out of fear with what's coming down the chute? How do we prepare mentally and physically? Preparation of what's coming down the chute is in your moment right here, right now. That's it. The only way to quote unquote prepare for whatever else is coming is to be present with what is showing up for you right here, right now. We've had 2 years to prepare. And most of us didn't take advantage of it because we were so wrapped up in what was occurring. We were trying to figure out what's coming next. We were getting mad at the authority figures and the governmental systems and whatever you were doing, the teachers and the whatever. We missed out on massive amounts of evolution and expansion because we were so caught up in what was occurring. So you want to prepare for what may or may not happen. Stop thinking about what may or may not happen. Stop and pay acute attention to what's showing up right now for you. What are your triggers? What are your limiting beliefs? How are you judging yourself and others? How often are you using the external world to distract you from what's going on inside of you? I'm telling you guys, the best way to get ready and to be sovereign throughout the next 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years, and to no longer be rattled by what's occurring, to know that you can navigate and get through anything, that you are free no matter what, is to focus on what's coming in right here, right now in front of you. The relationships that are blowing up in front of you, the people that are triggering you, the judgments that you have about yourself, the limiting beliefs, the beliefs that are holding you in patterns that you don't like, all the behaviors that you really wish you weren't doing, right? All of these things, all the arguments that you get into maybe, all of the anxiety and stress that you're feeling, everything is an indication for you to look at it and say, is this who I want to be? Is this how I want to be? Is this the way I want to live my life? All of it. So there's nothing to prepare for. It's right here, right now. Nothing. What are the benefits of drinking your plasma? There's thousands of benefits of drinking. It depends on what you're drinking it for. All right. Have you read The Choice by Dr. Edit? No, I've never heard of it. I had a party and I drank a lot of alcohol. Does that set me back? Does that create a lower vibration, or is this the guilt of that do that? So my belief around alcohol is that it's poison, in my opinion. It's poison in the body. So it's not bad if you drink it, if you're resonating with that, right? But to me, it's poison. The body doesn't naturally want to drink alcohol. Does it lower your vibration? I mean, I don't know. That's hard to say. What's your vibration at before you drink alcohol? What's your vibration at when you're drinking alcohol? What's your vibration when you wake up in the morning, right? If you had a scale and you could rate your vibration before, during, and after, that will give you a good indication of what it's doing to your frequency. You know, the judgments around it is what's even worse. So if you judge yourself, you know, that's going to lower your frequency. But it's less about figuring out what your frequency is doing, and it's more about feeling. Forget about whether you're in a high frequency or low frequency. So many people talk about raising their frequency and raising their vibration, but they don't even know what that means because they're not even feeling the resonance. They're not even feeling their frequency. They are holding the idea of what it means to raise your frequency. If I'm in a high frequency or in a high vibration, that means that I'm supposed to be feeling these certain things. Stop wondering whether you're raising or lowering your frequency and start just feeling your existence. Start feeling your existence. Start feeling you throughout your day. When you walk into that room, what does it feel like? When you're speaking to that person on the phone or on a text message or whatever, what does it feel like? When you're hanging out with that individual, what does it feel like? When you walk into work, what does it feel like? That's the greatest indication of your frequency, is literally you just feeling. Where do you find Reset 2022? It's in there is a link in my bio here. So if you go to my regular page here on Instagram and you go to my bio, so there's a little link down below. I think it's like Linktree. I don't know. Mr. that just joined, if you want to join me live, give me some hearts. Anyway, it's in my bio, and you just click the bio, and you'll see Reset 2022. Dizziness, light body feeling, that can be high frequency in your body for sure. When you're dizzy and lightheaded, there's that could indicate that you got a lot of energy moving in the body and that you're not grounded down. Right? Yeah, this will be saved. I'll put it up. I can't imagine being a teacher right now. It must be so hard. What are my tips for grounding? There's a couple things. There's a couple ways that I ground. One, I'll just slow myself down. If I'm feeling ungrounded, I will literally stop everything I'm doing. I'll turn off all external distractions and I will sit. I'll sit. I'll breathe. Breathing is a really simple tool. Do you want to go live? Say yes or no if you want to go live, mister, because I'm not getting your hearts. Breathing, good way to ground. Sit outside, good way to ground. Let go of all distractions, a really good way to ground. Let's see, what else is a good way to ground? Those are pretty simple. They're very simple ways. Breathing, quieting all the external distractions, go outside, take your shoes off, when you're outside. What's up, Mr. Phil Goods in the house?
What's up, yo?
What's up, yo?
Hold on, let me try to figure this out. Give me 1 second, okay?
Yeah, baths are a great way to showers. I shower, sometimes I'll shower a couple times a day, and the shower grounds me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hi. How are you?
You're home early.
I am. I took a freaking scooter. I was cold.
Oh, Jesus.
I was like, I came home in like 2 seconds.
Yeah, I don't know how you even sit out there when it's freezing cold.
Whew. It gets cold, but it was nice earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
What's up with you, yo?
Yo, what's up, what's up, what's up?
Hold up, I'm looking for my favorite. Oh, yeah, there it is. Okay. Oh, my God.
Did you just do a filter?
Yeah.
Yes, I am looping. I've just been talking for like an hour. I'm really enjoying it. Maybe I've been on for longer.
Hi.
Hi, I can hear you.
You can hear me?
Yeah.
Hold up, there's a little bit of a delay.
Do you want me to bring you back in?
No, we just have to stop talking for like 10 seconds.
Okay.
Okay, I think we're good.
Are we good?
Yeah.
Thanks, Kara. Love what you boo. Bought a badge. Thank you.
They need to do a thing where it's like collaborative badges.
Oh, how would you do that?
Like both of us are online and each of us can get badges.
Oh, you can.
How?
Oh, wait, no, you can't. Just me. Sorry.
That's okay. That's okay. Think of all the times you went live with me.
That's true. That's very, very, very
So
true.
I am your servant tonight.
Thank you. Thank you. I love it so much. Is that a salt lamp behind me? Yes. There it is.
I have one too.
Where's yours?
Can you see it?
No. Oh, wait. Yeah, yours is actually on.
It's always on.
Oh, really? You always have it on?
Yeah, do you not have did you run out of lamps?
No, I just only turn it on when I'm in the mood.
Ooh. Do you listen to Barry White?
No.
Okay. Do you think people know who Barry White is?
I don't know. Does that age us?
No, because Barry White was like old when I was young.
Barry White was the music you turned on when you were making out with someone.
For reals, I used to turn on like hip hop.
When you were making out?
Yeah.
Oh. All
Or
the
like Jodeci or
oh.
like
Like that song that I don't see nothing wrong with a little bump
oh
and
yeah,
grind.
that's a good song. That is so funny.
All the guys I dated, they would turn on like the Barry White kind of songs. I'm like, anywho, let's get down to business.
So I have a message.
Bring it to me.
Did you ask me if I did a reel 2 seconds ago?
No.
Like a 2 minutes ago? No?
Mm-mm.
Okay. My message is this. All the suffering that we feel, the loneliness that we feel, the pain that we feel, all of that is right now is like a warning signal. It's like an alert system or an alarm system going off because there's something we're still holding on to. And 2022 is going to get tougher and rougher until we're able to pinpoint what that is.
Meaning it's going to continue to, things are going to continue to come up for people that they're either going to resist.
Anything that you're gripping onto tightly is going to cause suffering, and you may not know why you're suffering, but it's because there's something you're gripping onto tightly.
Oh, I love that. I love it. That's how I feel with my yoga. Because I think that I think a lot of us don't even realize what we're gripping tightly to.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
We don't even realize that we're gripping it because it is such a staple in our lives. You know what I mean? And then the question becomes, why are we gripping it? What are you gripping in your life? Why are you gripping it? What are you, and then what are you, why are you afraid to, or what is the reason that you're continuing to grip it? I don't think people ask these questions in their mind. I think that it's like a laziness that we accept it and we're like, yeah, I don't want to let it go. Yeah, it's bothering me. Yeah, I'm gripping it tight. Yeah, I'm afraid. But that we stop there. We're lazy. It's a laziness instead of saying, wait, why am I holding on to this? What am I actually afraid of?
Totally. I just kept getting a vision that if we're holding something in the palm of our hand tightly, like for every second that we hold it, we're going to be suffering and everything is going to be intensifying.
Bingo. I agree.
It doesn't even have to be a person. It can be money. It can be a belief that you have around money. It can be anything that is stopping you from right now from opening up into what you don't even know you would like better.
Exactly. Right. How could you know? You're holding on to what you think is whatever it is that you're thinking that it's doing for you.
Exactly.
You know, that's what's so sad about a lot of things that we hold tight to, is there's something so much better beyond it, you know, and we're afraid.
We're so afraid. We're so afraid. And we don't know that, like, once we taste the newness, then we're never going to go back. I cannot go back to my old life. I can't. Why would I? Like, I've never felt healthier, even though I'm not exercising. I've never felt more energetic. I've never felt freer and happier in my being.
Mm-hmm.
Why would I go back?
I know.
I don't want to be a slave to my old life, to this other thing. No.
And one of the biggest illusions around all of that is if you can get clear on why you're holding tight to this thing that you think you need, or this thing that you think you have to have, if you can get clear on that why, then it becomes a choice, because we believe that we don't have a choice
Ooh.
around it. We believe that we're stuck. It just is. So you're literally like, it's like we're in purgatory all the time, and we don't have a choice in being in purgatory. It's like humans have to remember that they have a choice in everything.
They do.
We're creating our life every single moment, and we play
Yeah.
in this victim mentality of, I don't have a choice. Even if you're in some sort of state that you don't like, or you're grasping something that you wish you could just let go of, if you can at least recognize that you're choosing that, then you're going to be in a much more empowered state, and you'll most likely let it go. The second you realize that you're choosing it is the second that you're going to be like, what the frick am I doing? What am I doing? It's this idea that we're not choosing it.
This is the other way I look at it. The other way I look at it is like, when we don't feel safe, Lori, do we feel vulnerable? Like, when we don't feel safe, do we have walls up?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're not being vulnerable.
Correct.
And if you're not vulnerable, you're not able to experience something that would blow your mind.
Right.
You can't receive a surprise if you're not vulnerable.
Right.
Think about that, even in relationships. If you're not vulnerable, you're controlling that relationship.
Right.
There's nothing new about it.
Mm-mm.
You're basically the boss. It's only when you're vulnerable that someone new can wow you, or your boyfriend can wow you, because you're allowing yourself to open up your heart and receive surprises.
Oof.
So if you're holding on to things in your life, it's because you're not feeling safe, and because you're feeling unsafe, you're not being vulnerable, and because you're not feeling vulnerable, then you're not positioning yourself to receive the freaking goodness.
Yes, it's so true.
Right?
So true. And vulnerability is so difficult for us because it feels
Well,
like we're naked.
it feels like we're naked, and when we're vulnerable is when we're forced to let go of things.
Right. Right. And when you're vulnerable is when you start to literally get wowed by the universe. It's literally and vulnerability, like you said, it requires you to let go of any control. You have to.
Vulnerability is in vibrational accord with your most authentic self.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not the self that's trying to protect.
Mm-mm.
That's the lower self.
Or control.
Exactly.
And think about how most of our lives we have run from vulnerability. We've run from it because it feels so well, partly because we've been running from ourselves.
We don't want to see the truth, because here's the thing. If you tell a guy, I really like you and I want to be with you, that's vulnerable. If that guy runs for the hills, that truth is the truth. Vulnerability is the light that shines forth and reveals truth.
Man, it's the deepest, it's the highest potential.
Did the comments stop or what?
No, they're still going.
I'm not seeing any more comments.
Oh, shoot, really?
Yeah, what are people saying?
So good. Vulnerability is a gift. The awareness of, thank you so much. My belly is something. We're often taught that vulnerability is equated to weakness. Right, because everything's inverted, right? This whole world is inverted. So we're taught not to be vulnerable so that we can keep ourselves out of the highest potential, the highest frequency, right? Like you said, the highest potential or our highest expression is through vulnerability, which,
Vulnerability is a portal to the truth.
dude, write that down and stick it with you and think about that every day. Think about that statement all day long. And if you knew that being vulnerable was your highest potential, meaning that if you were vulnerable in every situation, i.e., you were your authentic self, you were your truest expression, you weren't trying to hide or pretend or manipulate or lie or any of that,
Or shield.
or control, the universe would always and only provide you with the highest outcome, no matter what. It's literally Jesus. I mean, think about this, because I don't.
No. It is true. Think of
Right.
someone who's like vulnerably sharing that they're having a hard day. You just want to lift their spirit, right? But it doesn't have to be that you're having a rough day. It could be that you're having a great day and you're still choosing to be open and vulnerable.
I just read this post from somebody, this quote from somebody on Instagram, and it's exactly like this. She said, when I am my most authentic or my most raw, most vulnerable on Instagram, that is when I receive that is when my business, she was relating it to business, okay, but it's the same thing. That's when my business receives the most expansion, i.e. more abundance, more followers, more people signing up for things, right? It's because she is vulnerable, and vulnerability is your purest expression. How could the universe not match you at that level? But the thing about it, the reason that we aren't vulnerable, besides the fact that we're programmed to not be, is because we still don't believe that we deserve to be seen for all of who we are. We still feel like we have to
Ooh.
hide, right? We have to hide certain aspects of ourselves. We have to pretend. And so there's a belief within us still that says that we don't deserve to be completely seen for all of who we are.
Wow. That is postable.
Totally postable.
Wow.
Man, think about showing up vulnerably. I mean, literally, I'm really gonna practice this, because even like at the grocery store and someone asks, how are you doing? My most vulnerable expression would be to really tell them how I'm doing.
Exactly. It's so true.
And then how can you not be met by the most expansive interaction with that other human? Because it's going to allow that other human, their heart will open. Like you said, think about when someone's vulnerable, your heart opens to them, because it's our true nature. It's our truest nature.
Literally, the second that you are vulnerable, the universe floods you with all this loving energy.
Shit, man, I'm going to practice this.
Being vulnerable.
I'm really
You
going
know,
to practice it.
vulnerability is receptivity.
It doesn't matter if people don't want to know. Someone said, yeah, but some people don't want to know. It's not about whether they want to know or not. It's about that's what holds you back from being vulnerable, is thinking about what the other person is doing or thinking or needing or wanting. It's really not about the other individual at all.
It's also, I feel like being vulnerable is also not about playing the victim all the time and getting energy from people. You're being vulnerable because in other words, if it's become a pattern, a repetitive pattern that you're always playing the victim to get energy from people, that's actually not being vulnerable. That's being manipulative.
Yeah.
Right? That's vulnerability is really opening up your heart. A lot of people play the victim and their heart is closed the whole time. That's why they're still in that loop.
Yep. Yeah. Well, that's not vulnerability though.
That's ego.
Yeah. That's trying to control the energetic world, which you're never going to be able to do. That's pretend. That's pretending to be something that you're not. That's no. It's not man, I love that.
Yeah, I feel like 2022 is all about getting vulnerable and getting real. It's about getting real with ourselves. Like, stop protecting your beliefs, stop arguing for your limitations. Can you be real? But I think the problem we have right now is everyone's busy saying you're shaming me. You're this, there's no more vulnerability, there's no more realness. There's no more real exchanges for a lot of people, because people have found a very clever way to throw it back. You feel me?
Absolutely, because they don't want to, one, they don't want to feel their own shadow, and two, they don't want to participate in showing up and if they will be triggered by somebody that is authentic. They will be triggered by somebody that is sovereign. More and more humans are being triggered by sovereign humans. More and more humans are being triggered by somebody that shows up authentic and honest and raw. um, there is more of that than ever before, I think, um, in my opinion, because we are designed to evolve, and so the only way to evolve is to see the shadow. So everything's going to be triggering people right now, you know. So you're going to judge and you're going to critique and you're going to um, belittle or shame or guilt.
Mm-hmm.
So it's
Mm-hmm.
going to be challenging to be authentic. You practice being it anyways, you know. Someone asked, how do you hold space when we trigger people? You just do you.
But also ask yourself why you triggered them. Were you trying to prove something? Did you try to trigger them? Like, I think true compassion is not deliberately and in a calculative way trying to trigger people.
Yeah.
You have to hear that inner whisper that tells you this is going to trigger them. And a lot of people who are in denial don't actually want to get real. So eventually you kind of have to clue into that and stop trying to bring things up.
Right. And I think people also assume that being authentic means that it's going to trigger someone, or being authentic means that you're going to upset people, or you're going to lose people. And what you're speaking about is being able to navigate an energetic world. Okay. So it's like you're, I don't know the great analogy, but when you are practicing being authentic, you are also reading the situation you're in. You're reading the dynamics of the other individual. You are understanding how to express yourself or be authentic, but you're also holding the awareness of the other individual's energy. And you know that if what you're about to say is your absolute authentic expression, okay, but you also know on an energetic level, because you're reading the entire thing, that it's going to trigger this person or upset this person or create some sort of chaotic God knows what, then you make the choice of how you're going to navigate your authenticity. You don't play the game of, well, that's my authenticity and I'm just going to be authentic and it's not my fault and sorry, you have to hold all that, right? Like there's a balancing act, or a way in which you are playing in this energetic world, where you have to take responsibility for what you're doing, being, thinking. You have to take responsibility for what you're doing with the other individual. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, because otherwise you're cutting yourself off from your wholeness, because the whole is everyone. So we have to be inclusive. You're cutting yourself off from your own wholeness. Okay. And you're saying, but this is my authenticity. That's a bypass. We have to be able to hold every human being as if it's an aspect of us
Yeah.
that we want to keep safe. If you're triggering people left and right, you're not attempting to keep people safe or to make them feel safe around you. You can't grow and you can't heal unless you feel safe first. That's what I found.
Say that again.
You can't heal unless you feel safe first.
Right.
you have to, that when you're in an environment that's conducive for safety or for healing, that's when you're like, oh, they accept me as I am, so now I'm going to push myself a little more.
Yes.
Now I'm going to heal a little more. My boyfriend just told me he loves my little belly, or he loves my little booty, or whatever. Now I'm going to allow myself to heal because I'm safe already. This can't go south.
Right.
I'm already accepted as I am. I'm already seen as I am. See?
Yeah.
Already seen as I am.
I'm being seen.
So we can't depend on people to make us feel safe to begin our healing. But most of the time, that's what's going to happen. You have to feel safe around people before you can begin your healing.
Right. Or you're going to start tiptoeing out, right? And practicing,
Mm-hmm.
and learning how much you're going to share. And then, oh, I can't share that with that person. Okay, great. Oh, I can't do that there. Okay. Yeah. Oh, I can do that there. But we have to start. We have to, well, we don't have to do anything, but,
I just feel like we need to get back to realness. We need to get back to realness because even if we're not willing to make the change yet, to at least open up that conversation of what needs to change. At least open it up where we're not going to be in positional. We're not going to harp on it. We're not going to beat the same old drum. But at least we're opening up a conversation to invite in ideas, to invite in potential changes. That's all.
yeah,
What are people saying?
it's necessary. Real. I do the shadow inner healing work every week for the greater good. I'm trying to see the inner child in everyone. Wow, as usual, right. Write exactly what I was thinking. Speak the truth, mama, somebody. Sometimes you have to cut the cord from people that bring joy. How is realness different than vulnerability?
Realness has a little more of a oomph to it. It's realness is you're leveling with people. You're willing to have people level with you. Vulnerability can complement that, but vulnerability to me is more of it has a different frequency than realness. Realness can have an intensity to it. Vulnerability doesn't have an intensity to it.
Yeah, it's a different energy.
It's a different energy altogether. 1 second. Hey, Google, turn off the heat.
How do we protect our energy? How do we protect our energy field from energy attackers?
Hallway off.
I frequently trigger complete strangers completely out of nowhere.
That's because you're probably not in your soft heart. You're probably getting back what you're putting out.
I think this is a good conversation around what you were saying earlier about triggering. Because I get this energy of like, well, this is who I am, and I can't help it if it triggers somebody. And I think that is not. I think that is you're not taking responsibility for yourself. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think we're supposed to be running around triggering people. If you trigger somebody, it's not because you are intentionally trying to, or you know that it's going to, or you're actively engaging in that sort of behavior. I think triggering is something that occurs for the other individual, not a conscious thing that you're doing, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah. Exactly. Like if you're deliberately trying to trigger people, you're still playing in the archetypal realm. If you think about archetypes, if you think about every superhero, if you think about all these different characters, is it spiritual? Yes, because everything is inherently spiritual. Meaning if you have someone who's super blunt and they're always out to trigger, there's still something spiritual about that. But the highest road, or the highest version of who we are, isn't out looking to trigger people. It's not doing that. We do that because we're still casting our shadow. And then we get back what we give. So we get back what we put out. We whatever you ping will pong back to you, kind of thing, because it has to be shown to you through the external hologram that you're still holding shadow. Everything is one. So the external hologram is not separate from you. The external hologram is always giving you feedback as to what it is that you can course correct.
Right.
The external hologram is one with you. It's not separate from you. So if you're always triggering people, then the external hologram is trying to communicate something to you.
Yeah, there's so many questions around the triggering thing, because I think this is a good topic, you know.
I did that. I used to do it on purpose, but I started realizing there's something here for me. Everything is for you. Why are you triggering people?
And most of the time, I'm sorry, but you know that what you're, if most of the time, if you are somebody that knows that you trigger people, then you are acutely aware of what you're doing. Do you know what I mean? I feel like I know intuitively if what I'm about to say, I know on an energetic level that if I'm about to trigger somebody, I know that I'm about to trigger them. I know
I
it.
do too.
There's very rarely ever a time where I say something and it triggers the person and I didn't know that it was going to trigger them. It's very, very rare that that happens. So there is something to be said about triggering people and taking radical self-responsibility for what you're about to say, and not blaming it on, well, I'm just being authentic. And I'm just, because when you are consciously or even unconsciously, but sort of knowing that you're about to trigger somebody, you're basically saying that I know what's right for you. I'm going to show you what I know that you need to see that you haven't seen, or I'm going to prove you wrong. Watch what I'm going to do right now. Watch how I'm going to make you feel. Watch how I'm going to watch what I'm going to do to you. Right? There's this, like, it's almost like a hierarchy kind of feeling of like, I'm going to show you without saying anything.
I'm going to school you.
I'm going to school you. Yeah. And it's interesting. I don't think that it is unnoticed by the individual. So then it's like, well, then how do people get triggered? Is it always a game that two people are playing?
I don't think so. I think it can be a game, but I think triggers just happen as a means to awaken an individual and to show them that they are not that trigger, to allow that trigger to show them what's been left unhealed. Because here's the thing, you can't help but to trigger some people. I'm just not aware of who I'm triggering because my intention is not to trigger anymore.
Right.
Intention used to be to trigger, so I was acutely aware of who it is that I was triggering. But when your intention is just love,
Exactly.
you're still going to trigger people, but you're not doing it on purpose.
Yes, that it's around the intention of what you're saying. So
It's around
if your intention is to just speak your truth from a loving place, and it's not to impact, and it's not to change or to affect in any way, it's literally just lovingly expressing yourself. That is and if it triggers someone, then it triggers someone. There's no energetic cord or attachment on an energetic level to you and that other individual, right? That's very different. That's a different energy. That's a different expression and experience and state of being, than knowing what you're doing, knowing how you're playing that energetic game with that individual. There's an energetic attachment almost, or connection.
One of them is coming from a pure heart, and the other one is coming from an impure heart.
Yeah.
One of them is coming from love, and the other one is coming from a blend of ego and love.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you can say something that's true, but it's still stemming from the ego.
Yeah. It's all around the intention.
Exactly.
It's all around the intention. You still can't see the comment. Someone said yes, Bill, thumbs up.
Oh, that's good. I know I can't see how many people are in the room, and I can't see the comments either.
That is so strange.
I kind of like it. I think it'd be easier to be on the news or on television if you don't know what's going on.
You know, it's weird. This morning I jumped on your live and I got this vision, a future version, or another a potential potentiality of you having your own TV show.
Oh, well, will you be there with me?
As a guest every once in a while.
As a guest?
Yeah, because it's your TV show, and they came for you, and they want you to be like, you would be on stage, and then you would be doing like what you do on Instagram Live in the mornings. You would be talking to people, whether it's like you bring them on stage or in the audience, and it's a TV show.
What if I can convince you to be my co-host by having someone bring us pistachio Starbucks lattes every day?
I would do it.
Yes. And we know how to do it now. It's a venti extra shot with 2 pumps of pistachio.
Yeah, we know how to. We figured it out in Florida.
We figured it out.
Figured it out. Yeah, but I saw that potentiality.
You know, it's quite possible that there's going to be a paradigm shift where people want more conscious television. And until that time, it's going to be events with people in person, just like the old school way.
Yeah. Yeah, but exactly, because humanity has to be ready for it. And I think the other thing I was thinking, because I literally played out so many things in my head, and I was like, well, if they ask him that if it's mainstream media, then then it's a totally different beast, and they're gonna be like, he needs to get the you know what, and he's not gonna get the you know what, so that's gonna change things, right? I literally went down a rabbit hole of your television.
You did?
Yes.
Oh my God.
And then I was like, well, what am I going to do when he asks me to come on? And be like, okay, well, I'm only going to be a guest because it's the Feel Good show. It's not the Lori show, but I'll definitely come on to be the guest. But it's got to be a network that's not going to require the ... And they can't be owned by the evil people in charge. And so all these things have to play out, but it was definitely a potentiality I saw happening as a real thing. And also I remember when we were in Tulum, the first time we hung out in Tulum, I remember exactly where we were sitting. It was like the evening, the lights were going, like the lights, the sun was going, no lights, the sun was going down. And I remember my guide showing me that, because we always know that the way you're going to kind of pop is that something's going to come in immediately and then pop you out, right? And so back then I saw a television show.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I saw a big TV show coming where they would
Interesting.
It
couldn't be scripted.
No, it's just you. They would have to give you free whatever, whatever it is. It would have to be a very unique network, because most networks are pretty messed up. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, I saw it like real this time. I saw it real in Tulum, but.
Can I have a wand?
You can have anything you motherfucking want. You can have like a background of however you want it. You can have like your little coffee mug.
Can I have a real owl on my shoulder?
Yes, you can have.
And just go, what did you say? Oh, cool. Oh, okay. Uh-huh. Yep. Ooh, I don't think she'll like that though. Uh-huh. And then I can tell. I've always wanted to be gimmicky like that, like have an owl, like an actual owl on my shoulder and a wand.
It would actually kind of be cool if we had our own morning TV show.
It would be so cool. And I promise you, we'll get the pistachio lattes.
We would be like the Kelly and Regis.
The Live with Regis and Kelly.
Yeah, but the spiritual version, Live with Lori and Phil.
I love that.
Live with Phil and Lori. The Feel Good morning show, they're saying. You guys, you shall definitely pass. Love it. They're saying, love it. Let's go. I would watch. Pistachio lattes. Yeah. There you go.
You're so clear.
We would watch. Mama Dookies. That's her name, Mama Dookies. She gave me a badge and I said Mama Dookies. And I was like, wait, is that really Dookies? Because that's like poop. Isn't Dookies poop? Right? I literally was like, wait, did I say that wrong? Because that's really embarrassing if her last part of her name was not freaking Dookies. And then she said it was Dookies. Thank God.
Wow.
But Dookies is poop.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, when you dookie, you dookie your pants. You poop your pants.
I learned something new tonight.
Yeah. That's why I was like, why would Legit. And then, I mean, imagine if it wasn't Dookies and I'm like, oh my God, Mama Dookies, thank you.
Oh my God.
Oh, shoot.
I think television's going to change, though. I think television is going to be like these lives. I don't know. It's going to be like a live, but it's going to look different. Television's going to change.
Dude, I'm ready. Like, then I was like, then I went down the rabbit hole of like, wait, if Phil asked me to be on the show, would I go on the show deep down? And I was like, yeah. Or if somebody asked me for my own show, would I do it? Yes, 1,000%. I would do it.
It would be so easy.
It would be so easy. So easy. It would.
That's why I don't want to make alterations to who I am, because it would just be showing up. Like, you wake up, you have your coffee, and there you are. Boom.
Yeah, and we do it every day anyways, whether we're together or separate, whether we're on Instagram or doing our slides. Like, why not share it with the world?
Exactly.
I feel like the world's ready for it, but maybe not.
The world is inching closer to it, I believe. And I think that what you and I are going to do is quite different than what teachers that came before us did. It'll be interesting to see it play out.
Yeah, people are asking why we haven't done a podcast or like our own YouTube channel. And do you want to answer that question?
I think Lori and I are craving more of an intimacy with people right now, where we can actually physically touch you, be with you. We're craving. I don't think any of that would fully satisfy the sweet tooth right now. I really don't. I think that there's still something that's being worked out by the universe, and I can't quite explain what it is, but the best way I can explain it is I want to bite. I want to bite life. I want more of it, but it hasn't appeared yet.
Yep.
That's what it feels like. I feel like this is the best version, or the thing that comes closest to what I envision. And yet there's still something that's missing. It's not missing. It's satisfying. It's fulfilling. But you know what I mean, right?
Yeah, it's got to be, because somebody just said, the mainstream media isn't ready yet. They're still really kind of like, quote unquote, in the dark or with the dark sort of energies or whatever. And maybe that's true, maybe that's not true, but it's definitely has to be it has to be the right frequency. You know what I mean?
But I will say this: I didn't come here to do what's been done, to recycle anything. So, and I know Lori didn't either, because Lori's Lori. Lori's like super special, and she's just Lori. She wouldn't come to do the same thing. No, we didn't come. I'm okay with kind of what is that reinventing the wheel? What does that mean? Reinventing the wheel?
You're just doing what everybody else has already done.
Yeah, I don't want to reinvent the wheel.
No,
I feel like
when you're not when you're not reinventing the wheel. Wait, you're just doing the same thing everyone else has done.
Yeah, I don't want to reinvent the wheel. I'm happy to have some of that spillover from previous teachers, because I have so much respect and admiration for everyone. And yet it has to be kind of revamped or refreshed or renewed.
I agree 1,000%. On a side note, I started using this really good chapstick stuff. It's not even chapstick, but it's like balm thing. And it's literally changed my life.
What is it?
I don't know. It's from my my makeup company that I buy like my face wash and stuff from, Beauty Counter. But something told me that I need to get my act together and start using lip stuff. And so I started using this, and it's literally changed my life in 20 years.
Yeah, your lips look really good.
Right now they look like they have stuff on them. They look moisturized. It's by Beauty Counter, you guys. Beauty Counter, but I don't know the name of it. It looks like this. Like this. Then you take it out, it looks like that. But it's just white. Beauty Counter. Side note.
You just gave Beauty Counter a plug.
Yeah, it's not color. I don't know what it's called,
Hmm.
but they're asking what it's called. I don't know. So there's that. Um,
Is anyone asking anything?
yeah, they're saying, hold on. No,
I don't think I've drank water all day. I think that's why I'm wanting to cough.
oh, it's not on Amazon. It's on Beauty Counter. Beauty Counter isn't on Amazon. Lip conditioner. It's lip conditioner. Phil, toggle the screen with your finger and your messages will appear. Coconut oil is
Toggle?
probably the best. Yeah, toggle your screen with your finger.
I just did it.
Okay. Which hat? Oversharing versus vulnerability.
If you're oversharing, you weren't vulnerable from the get-go.
Bingo. Because why? Because you already know that there's something quote unquote wrong if you're asking kind of that question, because like you wouldn't be thinking that you're oversharing, right? If you were being authentic and vulnerable. You
From the
don't
get-go.
question yourself when you're being your authenticity, I don't think. Like when
You
I'm
don't
being
question
authentic.
yourself, and you also risk nothing, because if you lose something, then you were supposed to lose it. So oversharing to me comes from, there's like an underlying or an underpinning insecurity, you know? And there's also, you're also sharing with someone who's not at your frequency because you're trying to get through to them. Think about that. If you're with the right partner, if you're with the right significant other, you're already telepathic. They would stop you and say, babe, I get you. You're good. If you have to overshare, you're stepping down.
Right.
You're on a staircase and you're stepping down the staircase of your frequency.
Because what is oversharing?
Oversharing is just an underlying or an unconscious inkling that you're not being heard.
Right.
You're not being heard. So then you're oversharing because you really want to pound it in them.
Or you just want to be heard.
You don't have to overshare if you're being vulnerable is different than oversharing. Being vulnerable is like, the only time you should overshare is if you weren't vulnerable from the get-go and you're trying to bring them up to speed.
Yeah. Yeah. Someone's laughing at your natural gestures are so pure.
Mine?
Yeah. No, Phil's
That's great.
hilarious. You guys have no idea how funny this man is. Like he's serious. Just him being himself, it's hilarious.
People
Phil
laugh at
being Phil in real life is really, you just watch and you just watch. Have
I'm
you
a different bag in person.
he's kind of the same.
Kind of the same.
But he's magic. I wouldn't have to overshare if I felt truly heard. It's true.
It's true.
Yeah. You know, and they said Phil has puppy eyes.
Aw. Can I have a phone?
Can I? Let's get another question.
That was the worst fake laugh in the world.
Mine?
Yeah.
Is making a man aware of demeaning women supposed to trigger him? This guy was very bothered when she said this. I wanted him to know. Is making a man aware of that he's demeaning women?
Well, I think it's fine. Look, truth is going to come out regardless. It's just that you have to ask yourself, am I going to be a minion? Am I going to be a minion to this thought that's driving you to say something?
Bingo. Why is it important to point this? Why? Just ask the question of why. Why do I need to engage in that? Why do I need to let him know what he's doing? I'm not saying do it or don't do it. Just ask the question why.
Also, ask yourself, this is something that came to me a couple of years ago that really freaking imprinted me. What kind of a stamp do you want to leave on people? Do you want them to walk away and feel that you were like an angel? Or do you want to walk away and be freaking stamped by you?
Yeah. I think it's important. I think it's important to really look at your intentions behind everything that you're doing. I think a lot of times that we are triggered ourselves, and so then we want to trigger the other person, or show the other person their wrongs, or their out of alignment state. I don't even know the words I'm trying to say, right? But it's like, if I
Mm-hmm.
see a man that is demeaning a woman, right? Um, and I'm triggered by it, or I'm upset by it, then most likely, instead of me diving into what that trigger is, I will regurgitate it back onto them and let them know what they did wrong, or what they need to look at, or right. If I am not triggered by it, most likely I won't say anything. I really won't. Why am I going to say something? I mean, unless he's demeaning me, right? Or if this is a behavior that he does and it's who he is. Listen, I understand wanting to confront the individual and express whatever that is that you see within them, but I just have a different stance around it. Like, even if it was like my dearest friend, okay, like, maybe it would be different. Maybe I would approach it differently, but I still feel like for me, unless they're asking me, it's an infringement, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think the only time it's appropriate to say something is if they're trying to transfer energy into you, like people are trying to project onto you, and you have to honor your sovereignty.
Yes.
Like if someone says to me, "You're gonna do this," then I will say, respectfully, I won't, right? Because I have to honor my sovereignty.
Yeah, it's a tricky question, because a lot of people believe that they need to teach the other individual, that they need to educate the other individual, that they need to show the individual what they're doing wrong or right. And I don't see it that way. I'm sorry, I just don't, because I deeply believe, as challenging as this is, I believe that unless they're asking me for my opinion, unless they're asking me for support, unless they're asking me why they do these certain things, then it's a deeper level of sovereignty and awareness in allowing them to be who they are, whether I like it or agree with it or not. And to me, that is a higher level of awareness. That's a higher level of being, and it's not how we normally are. Because normally we see behaviors, we see patterns, and we want to help the individual, and we want to get them to see what they don't see. And if we are doing it without them asking, then what are you doing?
The best thing you can do is just become a spiritual teacher like us. That way you can give advice all day.
Yeah, but they're
Seriously.
always right, because they're asking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I would say that, like, also circling back to the vulnerable piece, when you are trying to tell someone who they are you being vulnerable? No, you're not being vulnerable. Remember, the magic is in the vulnerability. Seriously, the vulnerability is like a piñata that wants to crack open. You just have to lean into your vulnerability.
Right. So like a vulnerable
Hmm.
response. Let's just say that your friend is not nice, demeans women all the time, and it really bothers you, right? And you don't really say anything. A vulnerable response would be, "Wow, when you say these things, this is how I feel." That's a vulnerable response.
Exactly.
Okay? An unvulnerable, "I see what you're doing and it's wrong," is, you always demean women, and you realize that you're doing this because of dot dot dot. Two very different ways of approaching the individual, two very different ways of expressing yourself, and two very different ways of being in a state of awareness. It's very different.
People don't like to feel judged. They really don't like to feel judged or condemned, because that's only going to kind of add fuel to the fire. And then you're another thing that's compounded on top of what they were already dealing with.
Yeah.
You become this extra burden.
Yeah. If someone's demeaning me, I let them know. Well, yeah, I think that's important, right? Standing up for yourself.
You get to a place where you don't even attract people who demean you. I'm being honest.
Joe Garrido's mom, Cher, you know Joe, my dearest, dearest friend. His mom is on my Instagram, our Instagram live right now.
Oh, hi.
Cher.
Hi, Cher.
Phil, how do I find the balance between new age and my savior Jesus? Oh, sorry, that's kind of a random question. I don't even understand the question. I just read it.
You have a program that you're running, which means you have a belief that you're running where you still think that Jesus would condemn you if you were new age. You still think you have this, oh, I have an authority. Oh my God, is this okay? So that's what you have to look at. So Jesus and new age aside, there's something deeper going on within you where you want to dabble and you want to explore and you want to flirt with all these different ideas and concepts and you want to explore your higher mind, but you're like, I have to do it within this framework. That's the Jesus piece. Jesus, am I okay? Jesus, are you sure I could step out? Jesus, are you sure? So I would probably look at that, because from what I know, the God that I know wants us to be free. You're supposed to be free. You're not supposed to. Could you imagine if I went to stay with Lori and I was her student, and every 2 seconds I was checking in like, Lori, is it okay? Lori wouldn't want me to be like that. She wouldn't want me to tiptoe around. She would want me to feel free.
Yeah. And I think also it's all programming. New age is a program.
All program.
Jesus, whatever is a program. It's all programming. It's literally just moving from one program to another program, from one box to another box. Throw all of it out. There is no separation. This whole idea of new age against spirit, against religions, against all of it is, it's all continuing to perpetuate this division. It's all nonsense. It's just, it's absolute nonsense to me.
Yeah, there's someone, the person who has the question, there's still a, am I behaving?
Yeah. What's the right
Am
thing to do?
I
Yeah,
behaving? Like you have to become your own thinker and your own doer and your own beer. And you'll be notified when you're out of alignment. I know right away. I'm like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Like there's poison in me. I have to get it out. You know what I mean? But I'm usually pretty in tune with that. You'll know it's going to be this venom, this buildup of a venom in you, and you're going to have to dispel it because you feel dirty.
yeah. I think just being aware of the right or the right and the wrong. There's a right way and a wrong way. There isn't a right way or a wrong way. It's just the way that resonates. Right? That's how I would
Yeah,
see it.
don't put Jesus above you like he's your authority. Put Jesus at, Jesus is your equal. Jesus is your friend. Jesus is your brother. Don't see it. Don't create this hierarchy where you have these overlords, and now Jesus is your overlord. Jesus is not wanting to be your overlord.
Exactly. Yep. You're right. You're right. What else is going on? What else is coming up for some stuff? Jesus is within. Become your own beer. Okay. We could do that. Jesus is my boy. Okay, great. One human's energy can power the whole US. Imagine what the whole world can do as a collective. Yes, Phil. Someone said, yes, Phil. Do you guys have any other questions? Um, Much love to both of you. Let's see. There's not a lot of questions coming in. I needed this so much right now, trying so hard to find a balance between Christianity and my own beliefs. Why do I struggle with sovereignty?
Just drop it all.
I know.
Just be you and live with an open heart and a pure heart, and
How
you
do
don't have to choose. You're it's a self in position. It's a self infliction. that you're doing to yourself. It really is. It's like you're living with these handcuffs, or what's that thing they put on you? House arrest, that little band or that thing they put around your ankle. What's that thing called?
Um,
Hmm.
Monitor, some
Yeah,
body, whatever
you're li-
monitor.
you're literally living with, that's the vision I'm getting right now. You're living with a house arrest monitor around your ankle, and you're like, I can only go this far with New Age, and then I need Jesus is going to pull me back, and I can go only go so far. You know what I mean? You're like you're limiting yourself. You're limiting yourself.
I don't know what toxic femininity is. Somebody just asked about toxic femininity. I don't know what that is. Do you? Ankle monitor.
Ankle, thank you. An ankle monitor.
Do you have any tips for food addiction?
What kind of a food addiction is it? Can you specify?
Yeah, somebody specify, you guys, what you mean. How do I get out of the matrix and trust that I will be provided for? First of all,
You
don't
don't get to have proof.
say it again. Say it again.
You don't get to have proof beforehand. You just don't. That's just the truth.
They struggle with binging as well as eating my feelings.
Well, I would say enjoy it. Do it with love. If you eat cookies, it means that you like sweetness, which means that there's something missing in your life that would be sweet. So when you eat the damn cookie, just imagine that you're inviting in all that sweetness and enjoy it. Don't judge yourself. There's no point in judging yourself. The inner critic is going to bash you. The inner critic is going to give you a super horrible rating on the movie that is your life. It's gonna rate your movie like a 20% on Rotten Tomatoes. Just enjoy what you're doing. You know what I mean? Like, things have to run their course. And what we do is we think that it's wrong, and so we are harsh with ourselves, and then it never evolves. I just ate cookies for like 8 years, and I just enjoyed it, and then it ran its course. It is what it is, and if I want to have something sweet, I'll have something sweet. But the key is to do it with love. Do it with love. Don't beat yourself up the day after. Don't beat yourself up as you're doing it. Like, really just enjoy. And you know what else you want to do? Connect to the ingredients. Connect to the person who made them. Connect to all the consciousness that went into it. Like, you're not just eating a blueberry, you're eating a blueberry that grew. You're not just eating a cookie, you're eating a cookie that someone put a lot of love into. Like, connect to the different consciousnesses that produced that made that possible for you to have that moment. Also, think about all the children in Africa and Cambodia that would die to have that thing, right? Connect to them, eat it for them. You know what I'm saying? Like, but don't